Hello, this is Jennifer from Asta and Ann, and today I just wanted to show you how we assemble our little card holder slash needle case. Now the reason I've called it a card holder needle case is because you can use it for both things. So I like to create things that can be used in multiple ways, and I'll show you a couple that I have embellished prior, and then we'll get to making one up later. So this one I have turned into like a needle case. So in the kit it comes with pockets and it comes with the felt piece. It comes with the closure and also the little finger strap as well. But this one I've decided I've lined and I've stitched a pocket on this way, sideways. Oh, sorry, not sideways, but I've left the opening on this end so that I can pop a pair of scissors in there. And the other thing I like to do with the scissors is pop a bit of ribbon on there, and then we can tie them onto through the eyelets that we have already in our kit. And down the bottom here we create this as a pocket, so we can pop needles and things in there. And of course by stitching an extra piece of felt, or you don't have to, you can just use it to pop pins inside. So that's one way of using our card holder needle case. This is another one that I have done where it still opens, but this one I have made specifically to use as a card holder. So I've got pockets on both ends, opening from the top, and I can pop cards in there and close it up, and that then becomes my little card holder. Or you can also close the sides. So this one I have stitched up the sides, but before I did so, I still lined and I put one pocket, stitch one pocket in there so I can pop some cards or coin or whatever in there. So you can do it either way, and that shows just a couple of options that we have with doing our card holder slash needle case. We're going to make up our card holder slash needle case, but before we do that, we have a look and see what you get inside our kit. So we'll open this up and have a look at the bits that you get. Move that out of the way. So our little card holder kit comes with our pre-cut felt pieces. We have our main piece, which will fold up later. Our main piece, it comes with a couple of pockets, and you choose where these get to go. So we've got a couple of pockets. We have some instructions, and these instructions are quite detailed because they talk about adding in a lining if that's what you choose to do. So the instructions are there. We also have some needles that you can use if you are hand stitching. Comes with our leather closure and our little finger strap, which just clips on to the pre-punched eyelets. So let's get started. This video I'm going to show you how we can make this up into a card holder, and I'll show you how we can do this without embellishing it. So there's not going to be any embellishing on this one, but we'll have a look at how we can put it together. As I said before, with our kits, I have multiple ways of being able to do things with them, and this is just one way. So you can do it so you can pop pockets on the inside. And then with this one, we can also choose to put a pocket on the outside if we want to go that way. So we can do a pocket there, and then when we stitch up the sides, that way we can have a pocket on the outside and also a pocket on the inside. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to line it up, and I have both sides lined up, but I will just put a pin through on the outside to make sure that I can see that I've got my pocket lined up correctly on the inside as well. And we're going to stitch through both sides at the same time. So we are essentially going through the 3 layers of felt, and I'll just make sure that yes, I have that lined up on the other side as well. And I'm only going to stitch the 3 sides, so I'll pop a pin in here as well, and just making sure that I have, yes, all nicely even and straight lines. I go back, just pop the pin in correctly, and yes, through all 3 pieces of felt, and then we can make sure that we're even on the inside one as well, and we'll stitch that, and then after we will do the side seams. So we'll have a look and see how quick and easy this is to do. Get the machine fired up. I've just checked my distance just by eye. If you wanted to, you could measure it to make sure that you've got the right distance there, but to me this is looking pretty good. And same with the inside. Okay, so I've got that all pinned, and now we will stitch through all of the layers. Now you could, if you wanted to, stitch the underside on first, or the inside, and then stitch the outside one over the top, but we're going to go with doing all 3 at the same time. I'm just adjusting the stitch length on my machine. I like to do it at a 3 stitch length, and just reverse back there, and very simple. You can see the felt, while it is 3mm thick, it goes through the machine really easily. And just stitch here, and turn the corner again. Now, there are lots of different combinations that you can do with this card holder / needle case kit, and sorry, this is just one of them, so we can see what it's like on the inside. Looking pretty good. That's our pocket on the outside, and now all we need to do is next thing, to sew on our closure before we stitch up the side seams. So sewing the closure on, you can do it decoratively, you can do it so it blends in. So this one here is just all done with using black thread, so it doesn't stand out at all. This one, I've highlighted it and I've used some red thread there, so you can make a feature of it. And this one here, I have made it again with a decorative thread, but I've used and made it into crosses instead of just stitching around it. So it's entirely up to you how you would like to stitch it on. You can also do it by machine, but I tend to like to do it by hand. That's just my preference. So I will show you quickly how we can do that. I do like to use a heavier weight thread, and this one I'm using Wonderfield's spaghetti thread. It's a 12 weight thread, so it's nice and thick. And I also like to do 2 strands, so I thread my needle and do 2 strands, get them together, just a little knot. That's secure, and depending on where you might have your embellishing, so you might have something that covers this all up, and that's going to determine where you want to place the closure. We always sew this side of the closure on first, because that will then determine where we put the other side. So I am going to go just part of the way, and I always like to see from the back side as well. that our point is in the middle of the closure. So flipping back over, you can pin this, but I do find that given that it's a small project, it's quite easy to just hold in your hand. Okay, so I've just started under the top and we're just going to work our way around. I'm trying to do this so that you can see what I am doing. I'm just going in, following the pre-punched holes, and I'm just really going around the outside. And as I said earlier, you can choose how you want to show it off or not show it off, depending on your embellishing. So you can see they're quite easy to do. You can see that. I would say it's a little trickier doing it when you're looking at it. You haven't got it close to your body and you're looking at it away. Almost there. Bring it around. 2 more holes. And then needle up. And that's it. And that's our closure. Flip it over and you can tie it off. One of the things I like to do when I have hand stitched something on is to bury my thread. So after I've done that, I will put the needle through and just come up somewhere. Don't go all the way through, just part of the way through, and then we bury off the tail and we don't have a tail showing. So that's popping that side on. Then we need to mark where we put the other side. So we will just pop a couple of pins in the side because that's where we will stitch up later. So that's there, and flip that over. Line the eyelets up, or the grommets, those lined up, so they're in the right spot. And then take our closure apart, and that's where we want to stitch on this other one. I'm going to take one of those pins and pop it in here. And that's where we want to stitch this side on. Just going to pop it in, and there. My thread again. I'll do a longer piece, I don't want to get caught out. So some little hints and tips as we go along. When I thread my needle, I like to push the needle onto the thread rather than try to put the thread through the needle. I find that works easier, better. Works better for me, so that's just one way that I find it easier to do, to thread my needle. And we have that. And as before, I'm just going to go from the top, part way through the felt, and you can feel it. So you can see you don't have anything on the other side there. I've just got it around the pin. Like that. So part of the way through there, coming up, and I will just stitch it around as before. That's it. And we just work our way around again completely as before. This side I don't tend to worry about doing anything as decoratively here. It's more functionality here, just holding it in place. You don't tend to see it too much, but of course still you can do a different color thread, but I don't tend to do it's not so easy to do sort of crosses or anything like that with stitching of it. Something else that I have done at times, and I didn't this time, is you can always run your needle through the closure first before we start stitching it, just to loosen up if there's any loose bits of leather in there from when it's been punched. And it's good to use a needle with a big eye just to run that through and make sure that the holes are all nice and clear. Through. Hopefully you're seeing that okay. Over. And I'm just going to turn it around this way. Make sure we're all nice and straight. And it's a bit easier to see from this side. Bring the needle up and into the hole. And we are almost there. And one more. There. And as before, just do a little knot. Tie that off. And do the same thing with popping the thread back in. And just cut that off. That's it there. And now the only thing we need to do is just stitch our side seams. So pin those. And we'll stitch those, and then we will be done. That's one side. And do the other side. I like to pop a couple of stitches in the end there. Secure it. Okay. Cut away our threads. That's our little card holder and our little finger strap. You just squeeze and we attach that on that way. There we go. One card holder, pocket on the outside, and a pocket on the inside.